This may be a bit crackly, people. Hopefully you can see me. Let me just log into this. Hello everybody. Looks like my screen's going pear-shaped already. Let me just do this here. I've got a sign in there, and another one there, and a link there. Right. It's an unapproved one, but we're still going to get it out there. Right. Here we go. Live. Let's see if I'm up there. Hopefully you can all hear me. Let's see what my CPU is doing. For some reason my CPU is going mad. I'm hoping I'm live, but you've got something stuck in the corner there. Good evening. There you go. Right. Hopefully everyone's out there and listen to me. Right, people. There's a few things I'm going to talk about tonight, and I'm sure I'm going to amuse some people and not amuse some others. Right, so here we go, people, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of English history here as well, because there's a lot to be said for this. I can see everyone coming in, so I apologise last night. I had been out and about and doing different things, so like I say, at the moment it's getting a bit tight for what I'm doing, and it's a bit naughty, because what I want to do, I am looking at another piece of software to see if we can get out live on something else, and I will be playing with it after the show. It's for the live stuff, but what I'm going to be doing also is uploading again to Rumble, etc., because I want to get the stuff out on Rumble. I know that they're not going to take Rumble down, and the reason I know that is because Devin Nunes has told me, not told me personally, but told me in a video that is the case. So that's what we're going to be looking at, is Rumble long term, until they bring out a live thing. So I'll be putting most of my stuff on there. I know I keep saying that, but I've set it up and it works. Good old-fashioned gaslighter. That's what we like to see. So here we go, people. Is everybody getting involved, getting tuned in? I'm grateful. I've got 145. Don't forget to send them out there and get the information out there. Good evening, Daddy Dragon and everyone. Where we go, one we go all. We do indeed. Hi and welcome, Patriots. Golden guest. Hi, DD and folks. How you doing out there? I'm really pleased that you're still with us. Obviously, when you're over the target, this sort of, they do try and steam into you a little bit. And I do believe I am over the target in a big way. So what I'm going to do now is show you my screen. So here we go. Now yesterday in the Scottish courts, we obviously had a success. Today, somebody thought they was being clever, and this is in Southern Ireland, right? And there's a couple of reasons why. At the end of this, I'll tell you. Our Queen has got nothing to do with the Republic of Ireland. We can't rely on the Coronation Oath Act. They've messed about with the Bill of Rights. They've got their own constitution since 1947, I think it is. They're not, if you like, part of us anymore, right? But I want to show you what this person did. This is the Court of Appeal. And again, it's come out. I don't know what date it was, but I don't think the date's on there. Is the date on there, or have I missed something? I think it come out today. But Oliver O'Leary and Cork County Council respondent, and that was the appellant. So before I do anything, I'm going to read this to you, right? This is the first paragraph, just so you get who we're talking about. Judgment of Mr. Justice Binchy, delivered on the 23rd day of March 2021, so it was the 23rd of March. The appellant describes himself as an occasional artisan baker. He is a French national, so he's French, right? And says that while he resides in Edinburgh, he sells his bread from time to time in Bantry, County Cork. The appellant was convicted at Bantry District Court on the 26th of April 2017 of an offence contrary to Section 3-1 of the Casual Trading Act 1995, the Act of 1995. The offence in question is that of engaging in casual trading without holding a casual trading licence issued under Section 4(1)(a) of the Act of 1995. This occurred on the 30th of September 2016, a Friday. The District Court imposed a fine of £100 on the appellant in respect to their conviction. And then it goes on to say, now, I'm not going to go right through what this fella's on about, right? I'm going to take you literally to the end of this judgment. Because it's really important that you understand what the judge has said. Now, what you should be seeing on your screen there is paragraph 28. Basically, they turned his appeal down. He mentioned the Magna Carta in passing, not on his original case, but it come to him as an afterthought, right? Bearing in mind he's French, he lives in Edinburgh, and he's selling bread buns in County Cork in Southern Ireland, right? Bylaws serve this. So accordingly, I agree with the conclusion reached by the trial judge on this issue, the effect of which was determined that the appellant was required to hold a licence issued under Section 3(2) of the Act of 1995 in order to trade at Wolfe Tone Square on Fridays. In neither his submissions nor at the hearing of this appeal does the appellant engage in any meaningful way with the authorities relied upon by the respondent. Now, that is crucial, right? So I want you to listen to this. I'm going to highlight that section, right? In neither his submissions nor at the hearing of this appeal does the appellant engage in any meaningful way with the authorities, and what he means by the authorities, he means the Act that has just been stated. So the Act 1995, Section 3(2), which is the one where you need a licence, right? Relied upon by the respondent, apart from arguments referred to above, which I ain't going to go into. The appellant advanced rather colourful arguments, right? So let me just highlight this again, right? And I'm going to say this to everyone. Let me be very, very clear, right? This geezer is one of these idiots that's listened to John Smith, right? Just be very clear about this. When a common law right is then incorporated into a statute in a parliament, in our parliament at least, and theirs as well, yeah, it becomes the law, right? You can't then be arguing the common law part of it because it is statute, right? In our Coronation Oath Act, Her Majesty the Queen swears an oath to uphold the ancient laws and customs, yeah, the ancient laws and customs and statutes of the same, right? You've got to remember that. Common law is for a judge to interpret what the law is that Parliament and legislators have made, right? So it's just a bit of paper with writing on it until a judge interprets it. And what they're saying in that one line there is, you haven't even given us an argument of why you haven't got a licence, right? The geezer's a complete idiot, right? Apart from the arguments referred to, now just listen to this. Apart from the arguments referred to above, the appellant advanced rather colourful arguments that he is, listen to this, this is in the highest court in Dublin, right? Listen to this. A living man with a soul. Fucking hell. Right? And accordingly, he is not what he describes as a legal entity. Fucking hell. Right? Where's me black cap? Right? Where's me black cap? Here you are. I'll use me wallet. Right? If I was the judge, call me the hanging judge if you like. Right? There's me black cap. Right? There's me black cap. Yeah? If he had said I'm a living man with a soul, I would have said, as that judge, not for fucking much longer you ain't. Right? He claims he has rights under natural law. Okay. Then you should have explained what the natural right was, but at least acknowledge that there is a statute to carry on his trade and earn a livelihood. Okay. Without impediment. Accordingly, he argues he is not a member of the public as referred to by C. Clarke in the passage cited above. The appellant is in effect arguing that he is exempt from the laws of the state. That submission is obviously and fundamentally misconceived. Right, I totally agree. I'm not going to go into any more detail about this. I'm just going to leave this. This geezer is a complete fruitcake. Right. To put this argument together, he's been listening to this John Smith geezer. Right, and this is what's getting people nicked. Right. This is a litigant in person who don't know. By the way, he only mentioned the Magna Carta as an afterthought, right? Even though the Magna Carta, it isn't superseded, and this guy hasn't mentioned anything else. All he's done is talked about this. Now, I'm going to give you another example here, right? And this is an English example, right? And this is something I've used personally, right? So I want you to understand, this is from experience, yeah? Under English law, there is something called a common law right of a peddler, right? Now, England and Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, are two separate entities, right? Under English law, there's only some police stations that know about this and do it, right? You can go in there and say, can I have the application form for a peddler's licence, right? Now, they CRO check you, yeah, and they will give you the form. You fill out the form and it asks you what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be selling. You can only sell what you can carry. You can't turn up in a big car or a fucking van or anything like that. You can walk. It's a peddler, right? So, you know, imagine these geezers used to pull their coat open, they have a load of watches down there and something down there and all that, and say, all right then, and they have a band round their neck and they've got a big trade in, they're selling whatever. The example is dressing up like a clown, yeah, and holding a load of balloons and walking around and then selling the kids a balloon for £1, right? Believe it or not, it's a good earner. You'll earn a good 300 quid a day at it. Why am I telling you about this? Because that's still a common law right. It hasn't been brought under statute, right? It's a common law right, and the police issued a licence for it, right? It's nothing to do with the council or anyone, but that gives you the right to go to any town square anywhere in England, right? So the most busiest place in, I don't know, Woolwich, Bexley Heath, Bradford, Town Square, any place you like, right? So when they come up to you, it's trading standards or the authorities will come up to you, the old bill and trading standards would say to you, have you got a licence, mate? That's the first question they ask you. And you say, yes, I have. And they say, can I see your licence? And you pull out the licence, a little card, and you show it to them. And there it says, issued by so-and-so, this is Graham Moore, peddler's licence, right? That authorises you to be there. That's it. They'll walk away from you. They only want to nick the people who ain't got a peddler's licence, right? And people don't realise that the peddler's licence exists, right? This geezer, what he should have done was applied for a peddler's licence. So what they've got there is determined that the appellant was required to hold a licence, right? So under their legal system in 1995, they pulled in the common law right and said, right, well, what we're going to do is, this is just to make it easy for people. You can have a right to trade there, but you need to get a licence, right? Whether that's right or wrong, it is now law. It's been legislated for, right? If you don't like it, then what you need to do is petition the Parliament and petition your MP and say, listen, this is the reason why we don't like it. You should never pass this law, right? And I'm going to get onto that in a couple of minutes. But my point to you is, yeah, I could go to the police station now in England, get a peddler's licence, go and get a load of balloons with some gas, blow the balloons up, right? Walk around in Bexley High Street, have that hanging around my neck. They would walk up to me on, barring the COVID regulations, they would walk up to me and say, "Have you got a licence?" I'd say, "Yeah." They say, "See you later, mate." Or can I have a balloon for me for me daughter or whatever? You know, the police buy the stuff off the peddlers, right? So that's what I'm trying to say to you, right? Now, this geezer, listen to what he said. So, at paragraph 29, yeah, I mean, the judge has absolutely ripped him a new one, right? He's now getting whacked for full cost for 2 appeals, right? In neither his submissions nor at the hearing of this appeal does the appellant engage in any meaningful way with the authorities relied upon by the respondent, right? So he's not even talked to them about that licence. I'm not interested in your licence, right? If that was me, I would have gone, I'll go and buy a licence, right? In the same way I'm saying to you now, and people saying to me, a few people have been nicked over the weekend in London, and they said, I was asked for my name and address, and I told them, I'm not giving you my name and address, bang, you're nicked, right? What have we said to you? Yeah? If you don't like the PACE Act, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, yeah, if you don't like that, then you need to stand up for people who don't like it. I don't like it either, right? But the fact is, it's a statute. The fact is, they can nick you, and if they suspect you of a crime, which is what they're saying, and you don't give them your name and address, I'm not suggesting to you that they've got the right to put handcuffs on you. They haven't, right? When they arrest you. In fact, they've got to say why they put in. They've got to say why 6 geezers have steamed into you and held you down on the floor, right? Because there's no need for any of that, right? But what I am saying to you is this. If you're giving your name and address, you then get this thing that comes through your door. You're not arrested, and therefore because you give your name and address, you're not going to get arrested. And then when you get a little thing through your door, it says, "Do you want to hear?" And you tick yes, right? And then you go to court and you say, "This is what I was doing, petitioning under Article 5 of the Bill of Rights, and we have the rights to do X, Y, Z," which there is some information coming out about. Right. So. Again, just look at it again. Apart from the arguments referred to above, the appellant advanced rather colourful arguments that this can only come from silly bollocks John Smith, right? A living man with a soul. Just imagine, standing in front of a judge and saying, "I'm a living man," right? If I was a judge, I would get the fucking hump if someone said that to me, right? I'll tell you what, if I was a judge, I'd probably swear. And say, who the fuck do you think I am? Right? And accordingly, he is not what he describes as a legal entity. Right? So why have you even appeared in court then? He claims that he has the rights under natural laws. Listen, I don't dispute there is something called natural law. Right? And there is something called natural law. But it ain't this. Right? To carry on his trade and earn a livelihood without impediment, right? That's correct. In England, there are elements of that, and that's some of the things that we rely on, but not what he's doing. What he's doing is an absolute, I don't know what, right? And he says he's not a member of the public. Well, I suppose you could class him as a tourist. You could definitely, under English law, regard him as an alien, being that he is foreign, French, living in Edinburgh, and selling his wares in Southern Ireland. Definitely strange. The appellant is in effect arguing that he's exempt from the laws of the state, right? What's the next thing I want to say to you about that? Does anyone understand what I'm going to say to you about that? I'm going to tell you what it is, yeah? By arguing that, you are arguing that you are an outlaw, right? In English law, you're actually telling the judge, I am an outlaw, right? Outlaws in ancient times had no fucking rights. These people are fucking fruitcakes, right? Proper fruitcakes. The appellant is, in effect, arguing he is exempt from the laws of the state. So, Judge, not only am I a living man, yeah, I'm an outlaw. All right, black cap. What? He ain't got no rights, so we'll hang him anyway, eh? Right? That's the way it works. That submission is obviously and fundamentally misconceived. Of course it is, right? Southern Ireland is a republic. It cannot rely on the same thing that we do, which is the Coronation Oath Act. Southern Ireland hasn't got the same, in effect, laws that we've got in England going all the way back pre-Magna Carta, right? It's a different area, yeah? It's part of these islands, yeah? The Great British Isles, yeah? But it isn't. Ireland is Ireland. It's a separate entity. England is a separate entity. It has its own common law jurisdiction, right? Now, people need to understand exactly what's going on over there. So there you go. There it is. I would personally, there are things that I would say and argue to a judge, but I certainly wouldn't come out with the bullshit this geezer did. So that is just to let you know. So I'm now going to look and see what everyone thinks, if it's funny or not. Mick Scott, Odyssey is a possibility. Odyssey is the one that I'm looking at the moment, and I am looking at another one as well. YouTube is the other one. I don't mind doing both of them and setting them up, but you need to sort of guide people into them. Judge kicked a case out for someone not giving his name, etc. Said it does not apply for COVID rules. Well, when was that? And you need to send it to me if that's the case. But if you're talking about the one where the geezer went in for an MOT, that's not what was said. And the case wasn't technically about him giving a name and address. It was the fact that he had the right to remain silent once they knew they was going to nick him. Basically, that's what it was about. And if you go to the solicitor's website, in big black bold right across it, it actually states, if the police suspect you of a crime and they ask you for your name and address and you refuse to give it, that under the PACE Act, they will arrest you. And that's the law. If you don't like the law, then we'll change the law, which I'm going to get into in a couple of minutes, right? That's the difference. Now, there's lots of things happening in the background where I do want to emphasise some things to you, and I'm hoping I'm going to find the right thing to click on. And it ain't that one. Is it that one? Acts of settlement. Right, let's get back to this. So what I'm going to do now is take you to... Now, this is the significance of the Acts of settlement, right? So before I do anything else, I'm going to take you to the top, and and by the way, again, people, you're the people that help me get all this stuff, right? I couldn't be registered with these without you supporting the channel, right? I love the law, and I only do it to help you. I don't charge. Steve Todd, I wouldn't dream of charging him. Don't want any money from him. I don't want to earn any money out of that at all. All I want is for us to be free and our children and our future to be free. I want Steve Todd to be able to earn a living. I want Steve Todd to be able to open his gym without having the fear of... let me just show you this, because it's disgusting. Let me just show you this. Not sure which one it is. Now I'm going to do your nutting, aren't I? Not that one. Not that one. Was it that one? No. Was it that one? No. Was it that one? Was it that one? No. Was it that one? Was it that one? Was it that one? Was it that one? Does give me the hump doing this. Right, here we go. I'm going to pull this back up. I will go back to Steve Todd again in a minute, right? So I want you to understand this. The significance this is an article from Justar, which is a legal database, right? The significance of the Acts of Settlement in the evolution of the English democracy. And then it goes on, George M. Trevelyan, in one of the more striking passages in his masterpiece on the Stuarts, observes that in 4 years between the wars of William III and the war of the Duke of Marlborough, the English people in the English constitution of that day were seen in their most free and characteristic mood, at their worst and at their best. It was during that period that the Act of Settlement was passed by Parliament, despite the fact that many authorities in the constitutional history of England have, like Trevelyan, sensed the tremendous significance of the Act and have called it the seal of our constitutional laws, a veritable original contract between the Crown and the people, and that some writers have even placed it above the Bill of Rights of 1689. Personally, I don't, but I do think it's on par, and it's certainly on par with the Magna Carta, and it goes on to talk about that later on. Now, I'm not going to go right through the whole thing, but what I am going to do is talk to a few of you about this, and as soon as I bring it up on the screen, I'm going to show you what the original, because they have repealed some of this, and what we need to do. This refers back to the previous thing that I just spoke to you about. We need to start campaigning to get certain things put back into our statute and our law, and the reason for that is because what they've done is they've removed our protections, and we need to make sure we put them back in. So this is what it says, and this is the Acts of Settlement. You've often heard me speak about it, right? So if you haven't heard me speak about it, I'll go to the last section and then remind you, right? And the last section that is still available in there to us is this. While Parliament in passing this Act gave a new dynasty to the right to reign in England, it took extra precaution in restating the existence and authority of the rights and liberties of the people, lest there be some doubt about it in the future, right? Now, what I'm using is not only this as the Act of Settlement in the case with Stephen Todd and others, I am also using the words in common law of the late Sir John Laws, where he says in paragraph 69 of the Metric Martyrs case, Thoburn case, he says that your constitutional rights are guaranteed by the laws of England. That's a very, very guaranteed in legal terms is a very, very, very strong term, right? Trust me, you don't want to be on the wrong side of a guarantee in front of a judge if you're a trader, right? And what that means is if you turn around to someone and say, I've given you a no quibble guarantee, yeah, and someone's on a car and a fucking indicator bulb goes and you said no quibble money back guarantee, right? And the indicator bulb goes on it and you take it back to the trader and you say I want my money back because you don't like the car anymore, right? He has to give you your money back. And the reason for that is because he has written no quibble money back guarantee, right? That's it. You shouldn't have written no quibble because you ain't got an argument. It says you won't argue, yeah? And a guarantee is the legal term that says you've used that word and now you're guaranteed of it, right? So you have to do it. That's it. Now just think about this. And whereas the laws of England are the birthright of the people thereof, and all the kings and queens who shall ascend the throne of this realm ought to administer the government of the same according to the said laws, and all of their officers and ministers ought to serve them respectively according to the same. The said lords spiritual and temporal and commons do therefore further humbly pray that all the laws and statutes of the same now in force may be ratified and confirmed, and the same are his majesty by or with the advice and consent of the Lord Spiritual and Temporal and the Commons, and by authority of the same ratified and confirmed accordingly. Now, I've read you out that last, right? Because I'm going to take you back up to the full text. Now, bearing in mind, they've repealed bits of this, and it's not going to be very difficult for you to work out what they've repealed and why, right? And this is the British that have done that, and in particular the socialist bastard Tories, right? They're not conservative people. Here we go. Let me have a little sip of my coffee. Are you all enjoying the show? I apologise for last night. Ray Edmonds. Are you all enjoying the show? Let's have a look and see if I can see any of these comments. Are you all hearing me okay? Thank you very much. We're getting more and more people finding this. Don't forget you need to share this out there. I ain't on any social media platforms. I'm over the target and they don't like it. Right. So here we go, people. 1. This is the Act of Settlement, 1701. 1. That whoever shall hereafter come into possession of the crown shall join in communion with the Church of England. 2. That in case the crown of this realm come to any person not being a native of this kingdom of England, this nation shall not be obliged to engage in any war for the defence of the dominions or territories which do not belong to the Crown of England without the consent of Parliament. 3. That no person who shall come to the possession of this crown shall go out of the dominion of England, Scotland, Ireland without the consent of Parliament. And there's particular reasons why they did that. They got pretty pissed off because William kept fucking off back to Holland, and they didn't like it. Evidently, he weren't very well liked. I don't know if that's true. I don't know anyone. I'll try and get in touch with them later. 4. That all matters and things relating to well governing of this kingdom which are properly cognisable in the Privy Council by the laws and customs of this realm shall be transacted there, and all resolutions taken thereupon shall be signed by such of the Privy Council as shall advise and consent the same. Now, what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means anyone who advises the government have to put their signature to it so they know who it was who advised them. They repealed that. Why did they do that, do you think? Yeah, well, I'm going to show you some other bits. 5, that no person, listen to this, that no person born out of the kingdoms of England, Scotland or Ireland, or the dominions thereunto belonging, although he be naturalised or made a denizen, except such as born of English parents, shall be capable to be a Privy Councillor or a member of either Houses of Parliament, or to enjoy any office or place of trust, either civil or military, or have a grant of land, tenements or hereditaments from the Crown. What does that mean, people? Well, it means, for example, that if you was born out of this country, and let's just suggest that you're a Pakistani mayor, and you wasn't born in this country, you got no right whatsoever to be sitting in any public office whatsoever. That's what it means, right? And if you wouldn't be able to go for the highest ranks in the army, in the police, etc. They wouldn't allow you to, and that is to protect us, the English, right? Listen to this one, that no person has an office or place of trust under the king or receives a pension from the Crown shall be capable for serving as a member of the House of Commons, right? What does that mean? Well, that means, for example, Treasonous May, who was the Prime Minister, who is now receiving her pension from the Crown as a previous Prime Minister, shouldn't be sitting as a Member of Parliament unless she gives it up. 7, and it also means, to be fair, that you're not allowed to be... let me just think about that as well. Yeah, Boris Johnson, under item 5, yeah, or Article 5 of the Act of Settlement, Boris Johnson wouldn't be allowed to be Prime Minister. In fact, he wouldn't even be allowed to be an MP, let alone run the country. All right. Anyone know? Why would Boris Johnson would not allowed to be Prime Minister under the Act of Settlement? Tell me what it is. Tell me the reason. Anyone got an answer to that? I'm looking for the comments. I ain't seeing no comments. Hopefully, we'll see a few comments. Rob Roy, 64, foreign, yep. American, yep. He's an American. He's not English. You're absolutely right. Right, so can you now see why we've got these problems? And all we need to do is put these elements back and we'd solve most of our problems, right? Might be distressing for some of them, but so fucking what, right? That's the point of it. So just remember that. So Sadiq Khan couldn't be the Mayor of London. Let me think. Priti Patel, highly likely, she I don't think she would stand up either. There's a few of them. That the Judges Commission's made, now this is number 6, that no person has an office or place of trust under the King or receives a pension from the Crown shall be capable for serving as a member of the House of Commons. Now, I've read that out once, I'm reading it out again. No person who has an office or place of trust under the King so it then goes on. So let's just read the first part. That no person who has an office or place of trust under the King, yeah, that's the first part. That's the first limb of this before we get to the right, shall be capable for serving as a member of the House of Commons, right? So what that would mean is, if you push that back in again, the House of Commons would be the House of Commons, yeah? It would be us. So they're all everyone's a backbencher, right? You wouldn't be allowed, you couldn't be a Privy Councillor, because that is part of the Crown, and be a Member of Parliament, which is currently what they're doing. And the reason they're doing it is because they took that paragraph 6 out, right? That means the Crown has now got control of Parliament. And the reason why the Crown has got control of Parliament, which it's not supposed to have, yeah, is because you have party whips. And the party whips basically whip the MPs to do, in effect, what the executive tell them to do. That's why this what we've got now. Why we're in such a fucking mess is because they removed that paragraph. And all the English Democrats, or if you want to call it the English Constitutional Party, whatever you want to call it, have got to do is put these back in. It's easy, right? But you've got to get there to do it. And the easiest way to do it is to avoid the Acts of Union, right? And again, at the end of this, it tells you why the Acts of Union was created. And it was because of a fundamental error by the Scots, right? And I'm going to tell you something. And then you'll go, fuck me, them Scots have caused us some fucking issues, right? And they have. Right. Or receives a pension from the Crown shall be capable of serving in the Commons. So if you're earning any money, so let's say, and I'm giving you an example here, not that I dislike the geezer, but Colonel Bob, right? Or, I'll give you another example, what's his name? The geezer we all can't stand. 77th Brigade. Tobias Ellwood, right? Because he's currently serving in the army, he ain't allowed to be an MP. That's always been, and let me tell you something now. Years and years ago, right, one sure way of not buying yourself out of the army, does anyone know this? Yeah? What was the way in which you got out of the army? So if you sign up for 33 years and you got a few perks on the way, you ended up being in there for 12 years. I would have loved to have been a 33-yearer, right? If you sign up for 12 years, what happens if you want to get out? Well, you have to buy yourself out of the contract. That's the way the army works, the British army works, right? You have to pay them money because they've put all this training into you as a 33-yearer, and you've now said, I don't want to do it anymore, right? So that's a breach of contract, so you have to buy yourself out. Do you know one way in which people got out of buying self out and got thrown out of the army? Anyone know what it is? Let's have a look. There's such a delay there that I can't get the questions. Well, I'll tell you what it is. You didn't have to buy yourself out, right? All you had to do was run as an MP. If you was to enter a local election, yeah, and say I'm running for election, the army will kick you out, right? Because you weren't allowed to do it, and you weren't allowed to do it because of that clause, right? So that's the first thing. That the judges, and then the next one is this, 7, that the judges' commissions made Quondis C. Ben Gesserit and their salaries ascertained and established, but upon the address of both houses of Parliament, it may be lawful to remove them. Basically, Parliament can impeach a judge. That no pardon under the Great Seal of England be pleadable to an impeachment by the Commons in Parliament. Now, what they're saying is, by the way, we can still do this. I don't know if anyone realises this. We can impeach, or not we. You have to get your member of Parliament to do it, but you can impeach, let's say, Boris Johnson, right? And the Americans get their impeachment process from our laws, and it goes right back to 1340, right? So you can impeach Boris Johnson, but and if the House voted as a majority to impeach him, there would then be a trial, the same as what you see in America, in this country, in Parliament. A lot of people don't realise that even exists, but it does, right? And they're trying to scrap it, by the way, and you can see why, right? Now, that's part of what we're talking about. But what then could happen, if that person, because he's a Privy Councillor, has favour of the monarch, let's just say that, right? The monarch can pardon them, or used to be able to pardon them. What this law said was, not anymore, you ain't. You cannot pardon someone who's been impeached, right? So again, I want everyone to remember that, yeah? So this, again, is a document that I've got here. If anyone wants a copy of it, it's a really interesting read. I will send it out to people. But what I'm going to do now is show you something else, because I've got to find where it was. Hang on a minute. Right, so then it goes into the last piece of this, and it says, impeachment has been employed in the struggle between King and Parliament over the issue of the great seat of sovereignty in the state. Like Chapter 61 of the Magna Carta, its design was to hold the King responsible without the danger of a civil war. It was the most effective of all of the old expedients. But when, due to subsequent developments, ministers began holding seats in Parliament and were being primarily subject to the will of that body, it fell into disuse. Right? So because they took that other part out up there, otherwise we would have had a very similar constitutional setup to America at the moment. America's got what the Whigs wanted, right? And the Whigs basically left here and said, fuck you lot. The Tories are socialists, we're not interested. So there we go. Began holding seats in Parliament and were being primarily acts of settlement is helped to make possible the supremacy of Parliament. It may also be well worthwhile to note in passing the effects of the Act of 1701 on the consummation of the Union of Scotland. Listen to this, right? This is so, so important. Let me just go back to it. The consummation of the Union of Scotland and England. The Parliament of the former failed to adopt the English Act, right? The Parliament of the former meaning Scotland, failed to adopt this English Act, right? The Act of Settlement of 1701, right? This is really crucial to understand. Thus, Scotland would have, with the accession of the House of Hanover to the throne of England, reverted to the Stuart kings, back to the Stuart kings, which would have been a disaster for Scotland, right? For it would have been impossible to defeat the attempts of the Jacobites. This would have given the latter an excellent political and strategic base for the recovery also of England, right? The English leaders, in order to avoid disastrous consequences of a constitutional deadlock with Scotland, decided to hasten and bring about the long despised parliamentary union. So it was a despised, nobody wanted to do it, right? And that's the truth. So what do I keep saying to people? The Constitution's the solution. We should void the Acts of Union. They were despised at the time, and they are now causing injury to England, in particular to England, right? And that is one of the things that we should definitely move up in. Summing up the contributions of the Acts of Settlement to the constitutional evolution of the English government, one may point out first that while the Bill of Rights of 1689 broke the line of direct royal succession, the Statute of 1701 fully established the entire dependence of the right to the throne on parliamentary sanction. Secondly, the Act either by challenge or assertion crystallised most of the cardinal tenets of the future English political democracy. The cabinet system, ministerial responsibility, parliamentary supremacy and the independence of judges, if one is given to making sweeping statements, one may say, save the Magna Carta, more truly its implications, the Act of Settlement is probably the most significant statute in English history, right? That's how important it is. Now that document was written some time ago. It's got lots of references in it. This is fantastic information, and again, I can only buy these documents because you support the channel. I read through these and then start to create the case for the constitutional element, read through the different things, go through certain elements and look for it. So not like that idiot in Ireland who happens to be French but lives in Edinburgh, lives in Scotland, and is selling bread in County Cork in Ireland, right? Come on, people. Can you see? And stands up and says, I'm a living man. I'm a living man. He probably had onions round him, was riding about on a bike. He's got the onions round his neck with his little French hat on and his stripy T-shirt, and he's riding around. Whoa! Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am French. I love you. Yes. Come on, buy my bread. And the Irish are thinking, why has he got onions round his neck and he's French and he's selling bread, right? And then Trading Standards went up to him and said, here, you got a licence? Sorry, my sense of humour. Right. Anyway, so that's the element of that. Now, what I'm going to do is go back to my main screen so I don't drive you too mad and go on to this, right? So I am now going to try and find what I wanted to find with this geezer, Arrow Mucker, which I'm going to find in a couple of minutes. Hopefully I ain't nutted it off. Is that one? I've already shown you that before. That's an important case, that's an important case, that's an important case. And I've got all these cases up there and I read through them every day. Some things that I'm sent, I read 2 or 3 times to make sure I get exactly, what I'm supposed to be doing from it. There is the Magna Carta, Workers of Union, some other bits and pieces, Register of the Great Seal of England. Again, someone sent me a fantastic thing. I think I showed it last night anyway. Right. I'm going to show you this because I wanted to show you it. this is something else that I wanted to show you, but before I do, I'm going to go on to our friend Stephen Todd. I've got a lot of respect for this geezer, I've got to tell you something. He's got some ball, and it takes ball to stand up for yourself and stand up for your rights, especially when you've got an oppressive state, which we have. So let me see if I can bring this down and touch wood. You're all seeing this on the screen. Now let me see if I can bring that down. This is from Lancs Live. Preston gym owner fined £30,000 for staying open in lockdown, prepares for fresh appeal. Stephen Todd was ordered to close Reps Gym back in February. Preston gym owner has revealed the date of an up-and-coming appeal when he will attempt to clear his name. You're on attempt, you are going to clear your name. Mr. Todd, who set up Reps Gym 33 years ago, so he's actually been doing it 33 years. Can you just think how disgusting this is? Look at all them old bill, right? And there is something that I'm putting in his case, and we're going through. Look at that. See that prick there on the left? He's the geezer that should be banged up. And there it is anyway. So we won't go any further than that. I am then going to take you back to, was it this one? It is this one. Right. Now, I want everyone to understand, I actually talk about real law, not versus Goldstein, appellant on. But again, this goes back and talks about old law, right? But I want you to listen to what I've got marked out on here, and I'm going to read it out. Mr. Gledhill further emphasised that in Grainhead versus City, now, don't forget, this information is in our House of Lords and used in an appeal case, so we can use it, and I can read this comment out, right? Now, it's really important that people listen to what I'm about to say, right? Because this comes from America, and it was us who give the Americans the common law jurisdiction and common law system, right? And I've got to tell you something, at the moment they're better at it than what we are. The United States Supreme Court identified a basic principle of due process, that an enactment is void for vagueness if its prohibitions are not clearly defined. Vagueness offends several important values. A vague law impermissibly delegates basic policy of matters to policemen, judges and juries for resolution on an ad hoc and subjective basis, with the attendant dangers of arbitrary and discriminatory application. He pointed out that Lord Phillips, Master of the Rolls, had approved these dicta in RVL and another Secretary of State in the Home Department 2003, and it goes on and say what it is. Now, I've got that case as well, right? So what we're doing is we're looking at it. Now, you've got an appeal in common law in the House of Lords in England that used an American judgment in the Supreme Court of the United States of America that said why it was so bad. And for me, that paragraph describes what's going on now, right? Because the COVID regulations are quasi-law. They're half letting the police get on and do whatever they want. They're then saying to a judge, well, you decide. But it's never getting to a jury, right? Which is something else we're going to be talking about. That paragraph is so important, right? And people need to understand, again, refer back to this silly bollocks Jim Smith, right, who's getting every fucker nicked, yeah, because he talks bollocks, right? It can only be the enemy, is the answer. He must be, right? He talks complete bollocks. You've now got this French geezer that's just added on to the end of his case. Oh, I've got the right to do this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I am in fact an outlaw. All right, so you've got no fucking rights. What are you doing in my court? Fuck off, right? It's simple as that, right? Don't insult judges' intelligence. But let me tell you something. Judges, I know a few judges, and they are very quick in terms of mentally. They're in front of you. You think they ain't seen most of this before, right? Well, we are in unprecedented times. But what I'm saying is, most of the strokes that are pulled now were strokes that were pulled 800 years ago. I've already showed you that, right? So we've just got to think and make sure that we're focused on the right things. And the focusing on the right things for me means politically we have to turn around to the English and say, listen, do you want to return back to the way England was? If you do, we need to put these particular elements back in. And one of the elements is a chapter of the Bill of Rights, not an article of the Bill of Rights. They've been very, very careful not to touch them because they are enshrined. But for some reason, someone allowed them to take one of the chapters out of the Bill of Rights. Again, I've read that chapter, and that chapter is what enforces, it's the enforcement clause for the Magna Carta. And in the 1800s, they repealed it, right? Now, the reason they repealed it was because it gave all the cities and towns the same rights as the City of London, right? So now you start to see what the British establishment are doing. They're trying to draw all their control and centralisation, which is socialism, in or around London. Everyone in the north, and most of the people in the south, trust me, southerners think the same as the people in the north. London ain't London anymore. It has been destroyed, and it is actually, in my opinion, under Roman law. That's why you're getting police officers acting in the way they did at the weekend with myself and the other pickets, which incidentally made me ill, right? So just to let you know that. Don't forget, people, I'm getting old here. Not old enough that I still can't get in there and have a go, right? And I'm sure someone's going to end up chinning me, and I'll probably end up fucking dead. But I can't, listen, I'd rather die on my feet than fucking, live my life on my knees. It ain't going to happen. And I don't care what people say to me. Oh, yeah, well, it's not what the papers say. One of the things that we will be saying in court with Steve Todd and others, yeah, is this court is not an extension of the mainstream media. This court is not an extension of the BBC propaganda, Channel 4, or any of the others. This court is not an extension of the advisory system of SAGE. This is a court of law. And the court of law relies on fact, and also you have two sides of the story that can be put, and that is one of the reasons I am so proud of Stephen Todd, because he's actually getting up and he's in a Crown Court and he knows what he's got to do, right? And for someone who's built his business, I have got so much respect for him. For 34 years, not a single conviction. Not a single conviction. Right? There you go. Anyway, there's my coffee again. Let's have a look and see what time it is. Coming up for an hour, people. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Now, tomorrow, I'm on my way to jolly old Bradford. Don't forget, if there's anybody out there that wants to come along, if you're union members, now I'm going to express this to you again, people, right? Anyone can be a union member, just join, right? If you're self-employed and you're a contractor, you still have union rights. You still have employment rights. That is what I'm trying to say to you. But if you're retired, sadly, and you're not working in any form, if you're working part-time, then join part-time as a part-time union. You still can come along, but you've got to join the union. So, was there anything else? Not really. I am now going to come off here and start looking at something else. I'm going to carry on working. I am leaving tomorrow. I will be round to see Brett in the morning and pick up my tripod because I'm like that. Oh, blimey. Hello, gorgeous. I'll just say she's so lovely, that caustic chameleon. She sent me a picture. She sent this to me yesterday. I'll see it. Live, extreme tornado outbreak coverage, risk, dangerous event, live weather channel. I'm seeing what's going on in Georgia. That worries me. Let's have a look and see if there's some other thing I can look up there. Pandemic 2009 and lessons learned. Well done, that man. I am now going to go and send this to man, and I'm going to ring him up after this. No rest for the wicked. By the way, people, someone out there has asked me, I've got to phrase this right. How do you phrase this? To preside over their wedding, right? I thought that was a really lovely thought. And people care about us, the show, and so much. And they've watched the show for years. I think that's a fantastic thing to ask me to marry them as a couple. And I've said I'm not even sure I'm allowed to do it. But I said, well, if you can't, we're going to invite you to the wedding and a guest. Thank you very much. There you go. Right. So don't forget, people, when we come out of our lockdown, if you want to have a party, but you'll get me in a corner, you can put a little box round me if you want. It'll look like I'm talking to everyone. That's it. I'm off. Be lucky. Just a quick one. Paul, I think it is. You have suggested you might be coming along. Listen, if there's anything in relation to the things fell off. If there's anything in relation to, contract law, business law, etc., that the union may be able to help you with, you may. It could be, for example, it could be that you have got a business. I can't do this. Hang on. You've got a business where, that the local authority could start causing you problems as a contractor on the waterways or whatever. So I'll ring up and ask Steve. But as long as you've got a union card and you're a union member and you're working, but you need to ask Steve, not me. Don't forget, I do not run the union. I'm nothing to do with the union. I'm nothing to do with the English Democrats. I'm just me. And because I'm just me, I can be as gobby as I fucking well like. Right, that's it. I will speak to you all soon. I am now going to ring up or wait for someone to ring me. I wonder if he's on... Oh yeah, by the way, Lee, thank you. I've seen them. People think I don't read the emails. I do. It's just that I ain't got the time to reply to them all. Lee, and you know who you are. I will try and send you. In fact, Adam, who is the person I'm now getting on. Now you see what happens, right? So I think I'm going to go and do that, and then someone else rings me, and something else is happening, and someone else, and I'm doing something else, and then someone else rings me, and something else happens, and then someone sends an email on that, and then someone says, can I have an urgent reply to that? And someone says to that, someone, and then they're like, oh, right? What I need is a proper admin, right? So anyway, Lee, you have asked for the details of the people who do the banners. I will send you their details. There's different sizes. I'll give you the person to speak to, and they'll run you through it. What size you want? How do you want to do it? You might need so anything that I've sent to them in the artwork, you've got permission to use it anyway, right? But some of the stuff that you want to do, like the background behind me. What was the other one? There was another one you had there as well. Oh, the big thing of the card. That's fantastic, by the way. I really like that. If someone could make one, actually could make one of them and take it to events, couldn't we? Because then I've got all the cards here, just to sell them for $5 each. If you ask me and remind me, I've got the high definition version of that, right? Which means that you could just give them that and they'll blow it up and it will look exactly as the card should look. It's the highest definition you can get. So you could blow it up 8 metres by 8 metres if you wanted to. It'd be very, very expensive if you did that though. And there is another thing that I was going to talk to people about, but I won't do it yet. But I will get involved with that. Right. What am I doing? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on that and take it up there and start having a look at that. Remind me later. Cookies. That's it, people. God bless you. God bless America. God bless England and everybody in England. I love you all, right? I am such a happy bunny. And you probably hear my washing machine going in the background now. No, you can't, because I can't see the mic going. But my washing machine is spinning in the background. Right? So don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. I'm on my way to Bradford tomorrow. Anyone can give me any support. Give me some support. Hopefully. And then I'm going to be probably staying over again on Saturday over there, because I want to go around and talk to a few people and hopefully get some interviews in as well. I'll have the high vises. I'll have my jacket. I'll have all the paperwork. And hopefully we get treated with respect by the police. So that is it. Good night. Thank you to everyone. Daddy Dragon, what time Saturday? Evidently it's 1 p.m. Right, so it's 1 p.m. and I will send an email out with this. 1 p.m. in Centenary Square, Bradford. 1 p.m. Right now. 1 p.m. Bradford. You will see me. I'll have a red eye-vis on with Picket Supervisor, and it'll have on the back. It'll have the Union logo, so you'll know who I am anyway. Yeah, but I do probably need. I don't know what else I'm going to take up there, but I might get me little old lady trolley out and wheel it about rather than have a heart attack trying to carry everything. Let's go from there. Not sure if they sent you this. Centre for Health, Guy Spars, Ray Edmonds, time and postcode for Saturday. So, 1 p.m. Let me see if I can go and find my thing again. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Hang on. Oh, bollocks. Oops. Did I actually say bollocks on air? Right, hold up. And I bet I've took it off now. Oh yeah, I never showed them before, didn't I? I'm going to have to show these again. Did anyone see one of these? Oh, don't know what's going on there. It's all going pear-shaped. What is going on with this? It's going like a lunatic. Tell me what you think of this. And there's more of this to come, right? Tell me what you think of this. It's a mega hat. Make England great again, yeah. And there's more of them. Let me just see if I can pull that one down. I think, how have I done that? Is there something... I can't bring that up. If I bring that up, everyone will see it. So I don't want to do that. What I will do is put myself back on the screen again. Before I go, hang on. Let's have a look and see if I can bring this up on the screen. Is that it there? Well, you'll probably think I'm a nutter now. Hang on. Let's have a look and see if it comes up on the screen. I don't know what screen it's working on. No, it's going pear-shaped on me, so I can't do it. It's basically Bradford City Centre, right? It's Centenary Square, and it's 1 p.m. Right? Bradford City Centre, 1 p.m. Think about it. Bradford City Centre, 1 p.m. That's it. Au revoir, tiddly poo. Don't forget what I believe in. Constitution is the solution, and I will see you soon. Bye!